we are doing a surprise spontaneous live chat. We did just do a little bit of a test run. So now here we are. Welcome. This is something that I've been wanting to do, a big tour of our second edition curriculum. So today I'm going to give you all the details of our new beautiful second edition curriculums in each of the formats these are available, and also do some comparison of our first editions. So welcome, please, if you're hopping on, say hello. I want to make sure that everyone can see. There we are. Okay, I can see that we're rolling. Okay, so hello and welcome again. Like I said, today we are going to be telling you all a little bit more about our second edition curriculums, answer some frequently asked questions, do an in-depth flip through and tour, compare each different format, and compare the updates and improvements we've made from our first edition. So let's get going. This will again be posted on Instagram and on YouTube later. So hello and welcome. If you are curious and are still new and wondering about what this even is, we created a seasonal early childhood curriculum. This is designed mostly for children ages 3 to 5. It is non-academic in nature, meaning it doesn't introduce letters or numbers quite yet. We focus on painting and life skills and stories and songs. This is a bit Waldorf inspired and a whole child approach. And we have the academic year available for pre-order now. This is autumn, winter, spring. Because this is non-academic in nature, this is also a lovely addition for some older children who are using another homeschool curriculum. And we've had family members enjoying this with children of multiple ages, and even adults enjoying this just for themselves as well. So while it is designed for ages 3 to 5, it can really be enjoyed by so many young and old. So if you are also just joining us or just finding us, just discovering us, we have autumn, winter, spring available. We have 3 formats of our curriculum available. We have digital, paperback, and hardcover. So I'll go through the differences between those. So we have our digital curriculum. This is our affordable option. One thing that was really important to us was to have a balance of quality and affordability. And our digital curriculum is how we're doing that. So our digital curriculum is included in the purchase of all of our hard copies, but you can also buy it just on its own. And you get 2 great versions. You get a digital friendly version. So this is going to look like an open page of the book, really gives you that similar experience as if you were flipping through the book. It's hyperlinked so you can hop around. It's really optimized for digital viewing. And all of these curriculums are over 500 pages, and this digital curriculum is only $50 each per season. We really wanted to make this affordable for anyone who wanted access to the information. So access to the information is only $50. You get this beautiful digital version, and you also get a printer-friendly version that has single pages. So if you want to print this out on your own at home, you can, or if you have a first edition and just want to print out a few of those updated pages from your second edition digital copy, you can do that as well. I know for a lot of people overseas with higher shipping costs really love this option. So this is our way to make sure that the information in this curriculum is accessible to really anyone who wants it. And it is a beautiful, really user-friendly option for you there. And again, this digital version is actually included with purchase of a hardcover or a paperback, but also available on its own. We also have our paperback option. This is $125, and this is still a beautiful, beautiful, really gorgeous book. Again, over 500 pages per season. Our second edition covers include this beautiful gloss on this chalkboard art. This is original chalkboard art by my husband, Nathaniel, that he did, and we have a lot of beautiful details. The paper itself on the inside for our second editions is also highly improved. It is thicker, glossier, very clear, beautiful imagery. So this is our paperback version. And one of our biggest changes and updates from our first edition visually, I'll show you here. Our first edition paperback, we had full gloss. So this was what you would have gotten for our first edition paperback. And now our second edition paperbacks match the finish of our hardcover. So these are a bit more of a pair, and I think they're both gorgeous. So our hardcover, of course, is kind of our most beautiful, lovely option. This is for your bibliophiles, people who just love a good, beautiful book. We really designed this to be an heirloom quality book, something that you're going to love having on your shelf and maybe even pass down for years. These are also improved in binding quality from our first editions. And we have that beautiful gloss on the chalkboard, which really just makes this art pop. All this art is so beautiful. And I think that gloss just really makes it really shine. So hardcover. And again, we have some beautiful new details on our hardcover. We have these beautiful end pages featuring our icons from Tabitha Page, wonderful children's illustrator. We were so excited to have her join us. And of course, we get also some beautiful chalkboard art right here in the beginning with these new pages are just stunning. All of the art and all of the photography just pop. And then we have our curriculum. So that's the 3 different formats we have. Again, that's gonna die. We have our digital, our paperback, and our hardcover. And again, the reason why we wanted to offer these 3 different versions is to really make sure that you can kind of choose your own price a little bit as far as what you want to interact with physically. If you want a more affordable digital copy, if you like a paperback, if you like a hardcover, all of these options are available with affordability and quality and everything in between. And these are packed with such good stuff. So I'm gonna go through now a little bit more details of the differences between our first editions and our second edition's curriculums as far as some of the content. Now, the overall curriculum content is the same. So if you were with us for first edition, the themes are the same, the activities are the same. It is really mostly just improvements. Believe it or not, there's actually an additional 100 pages in our second editions versus our first edition. So we did add a lot, and I'm really excited to show you more about what those additions were. So of course, there's some improvements, there's some corrections, but I'll show you kind of what the main improvements are as we get to, let's open up one of our weeks here. And so here we are. And I'll kind of give you a just walkthrough of a week. So in each week of curriculum, this is kind of the general layout. You have a beautiful overview here. You open up to your next page. So this is Bread Week, and you get this nice, beautiful snapshot, day 1, day 2, day 3. So you can get your week at a glance. All of this is the same as your first edition. You have all the supplies you'll need for that week, your grocery list even. Then we come to our story guide. So this is one thing that is new from our second edition curriculum. In our first editions, you had a more condensed story and just a few little tips, but now we have this beautiful 2-page story guide. And this is really what takes the stories in these books from story to curriculum. We have adapting for different ages. So we're going to give you tips on how to read these stories for ages 0 to 3, ages 4 to 6, ages 7+, because they're really designed to adapt and grow with your children, and we want to equip you on really how to do that so you can feel confident in using and enjoying these stories with your children. We have a quick summary. We have some tips on how to open story time, how to engage your children for these stories to make sure they're ready to receive it. We have some tips on how to build anticipation and kind of a story hook and how to present this. And then over here, we now have these handy little puppet show prop suggestions. So if you would like to use these stories in a puppet show, we give you a list of some suggested items that you could have on hand for a little puppet show. And then we also have our teachable moments. So these are things that you can use after you've read the story to help connect the story to your children's life with experiences they've had. As things come up, you can draw to the story to really bring it alive and use these stories as teaching tools. And it really makes these stories so multifaceted. They're entertaining, they're going to build your child's imagination, but there's also so many good teaching tools in here as we go see the gnomes and Hamilton and go through their day and all of these little moments between friends that you can tie back to your children's life. And then with our second editions, we have a beautiful 2-page story spread. So these stories are slightly expanded from the first edition. In the first edition, we just had one short little story here, and now we have a little bit more space for this to breathe. We have a full story, and one thing I love about our new second edition story designs is the lyrics of the songs are written as poetry within the stories. All the songs that have been written, Nathaniel's written over 100 songs for all of these stories and all of our curriculum, and they're really written to be embedded within the story. They're a part of the storyline. They're the words that are said from the characters, and they're really beautiful. And in our previous edition, we just kind of had insert song here, basically, where now you can really read those songs in line with the story. They help progress the storyline, they give context, and they're really beautiful. So you have the stories written out in poetry form right here. And you also have these connect points. So these are points that are prompting you to pause and re-engage your child. See what their comprehension is, see what they're thinking. You can preview some things, so you have connect or predict or infer, and all of these learning tools woven in the story so you can pause with your children and connect. Have you ever seen a gnome? Or have you ever made bread before? And there are these lovely little points to pause and connect with your children over these stories. And then, of course, a lovely addition to our new story pages is you do get a little snippet of an illustration for each one, which is lovely. These are, of course, Nathaniel's original chalkboard art. So you get to see how these chalkboard pieces really illustrate these pages. So a lovely improvement for our story pages. And next, our song pages also got a complete makeover. So in our previous editions, our song pages were just the simple sheet music here, but we realized we didn't really have a great place for you all to just read the lyrics of the songs. So now each song gets its own 2-page spread. You have your simple sheet music here, which is a bit different from the sheet music in the songbook, which I'll get to in a little bit. You have your sheet music here, and now you have this lovely lyric card. So this has all the lyrics of your songs, and now I'm so excited, down here is a QR code. There is a specific QR code for every single song in the book and every single song that is in the curriculum, and you can scan that and it'll take you right to the song that is produced and released anywhere you listen to music. So it'll take you to that. You can listen to it right away. You don't have to fumble through anything there. So really nice way to make our music a little more accessible and enjoyable. Last year we were still releasing the songs as we went. So it is so exciting to have those out now, and each song is a QR code that can take you straight to it. Another thing that's really fun with this kind of lyric page design is if you do have that digital, which if you buy a hard copy you get, or if you even only have a digital, this is a really fun page that you can print out on its own. You can kind of cut this out if you'd like, and have it on your own hand if you want to use it for circle time or for easy reference. So again, each song page has its own sheet music, has the lyrics, has reference to the song, has a nice little image to let you know kind of who the song is about, and it's really, really lovely. Then we get into, one more song for this week. Then we get into our lessons. So if you're familiar with our first edition, this will look really familiar, but if you're not, I'll kind of go through how we lay out. So we have our lessons here. This is kind of your snapshot of your day, and you can kind of see where you are within the rhythm of the day. You have your daily icon here and your weekly icon here, so you know it's bread week, you know it's September, you know you're on Living Arts Day, and right here, this is a Play-Doh recipe. So you have the recipe here, you have some tips, and then you'll move on to your gluten-free version of your Play-Doh recipe. So this is one of the biggest additions to our second edition curriculum. And I'm so excited about you guys. We had Jessica Diamond, who is a pediatric dietitian, come on and help us. She helped us adapt every single recipe in this book so that anyone can enjoy these. So even this Play-Doh recipe uses normal flour. A gluten-free family can't even play with flour with gluten. And so every single recipe, be it a craft recipe or a baking recipe, we now have a fully adapted gluten-free version. We have vegan swaps. We have every dietary need accounted for. So if you're gluten-free, this book is for you. If you're a vegan, this book is for you. We wanted to make sure that any family can enjoy these without muss or fuss. And so we're so excited that it is right there within the book. You don't have to hunt and find another resource. It's just the very next page. So we have our gluten-free Play-Doh recipe right here. We have our main lesson, which this lesson happens to include a song from our daily songs. So you have that QR code to listen. You have some guidance from me there. You have an activity, even some allergy considerations for an activity. And then we'll open up to a recipe. This is now baking day, and so you're going to be making bread. And so you open up to your bread recipe. This is my Wondergarten wheat bread recipe, which is so fun. And I have a lot of tips on baking with children and how I present this to a group. And then, of course, the very next page is the gluten-free version, which is so fun. And then this little card, you also have other dietary swaps. So if you need it vegan, refined sugar-free, nut-free, if you'd like it to be only whole wheat flour and no white flour, you have some tips here, and it just makes it really easy. So anyone, regardless of dietary needs, can enjoy this book just as much as any other family. So we're so thankful for Jessica to join us with this. And that is a lot of where the bulk of the extra pages came from, to make sure that it is just as easy for those gluten-free families or vegan families whatever you need. And then your week continues with your activities, drawing and painting. I have a QR code for a painting story from our YouTube. So very well supported. And then you'll carry on to the next week is Apple Week. And that is the layout for all 3 books, all 3 seasons. That's generally what you'll expect. And it'll take you through your weeks. You have gluten-free versions of all your recipes. You have different activities. You have sheet music. You have songs. You have beautiful stories. You have monthly supply lists. So each month opens up before you even get to your activities. Each month has a supply list of everything you'll need. And guess what? Today we have just launched supply kit subscriptions. So if you want to just spend more time enjoying these activities with your family and less time hunting for all of these supplies, you can head to our website today, subscribe to our supply kit subscription. So each month a box is going to show up at your door with everything you need for all of these lovely activities. You don't even have to think about it. So that is available now. I'm so excited. I worked very hard to source my favorite, all of my favorite supplies to make your lives a little easier if that is something you'd like. Of course, you can also hunt for these, use what you have, find things at thrift stores. I always love seeing in our community chat what people are using to do these activities. But we're also so excited to have fully packaged supply kits ready for you for those families who you want it. We do have build your own versions. We have individual kits, but we also now just launched that subscription. So if you want to subscribe for the year from September to May, you will get a beautiful box at your door full of all of these things. So we are really excited about that. And then you can enjoy the rest of your curriculum. So that is a bit of a tour of autumn. And I do then just kind of want to go through a little bit about the beginning of each book, because I think the beginning of each book is also really important. The beginning of each book for each season is very similar. So say you didn't start with autumn, you can start with winter or spring just as easily. We have a little bit about our story. You'll have a note from me to kind of frame your perspective on how you want to approach this curriculum. And I'd encourage you to read and reread this through the year as you go, because I have some encouragement in there for you moms. I know homeschooling and keeping up with lessons can feel like a lot. So go back to this and remember that this is for you and your children. This isn't a big to-do list to do every single thing in this book. This is like a menu of options for ways to connect with your children. And then we also have our QR code there to join our community. So we have a lovely community online you can join, and you can connect with other moms doing this curriculum. You can join along. I'm in there. Sometimes I do live chat overviews to kind of prep you. Okay, September's coming. Here's what's coming. So you can kind of just hear me talk you through it, support you along the way, share how you've done your lessons and recipes. It's always fun to get pictures from other moms doing the same thing and go through the year together. And then after that, we have this lovely introduction to our philosophy. This is written by Nathaniel, and this is really a great starting point if you're curious about what all of this even is, if you're kind of curious about Waldorf education, if curious about what we believe and the approach to early childhood. This is a really great place to start. Again, this is available digitally in that digital version if you just want to kind of peek before you commit to a physical book. But this is in the beginning of all seasons of your book, a whole child approach, what that means, the ages and stages of childhood, really explains that out, and then goes into our guiding principles and really how we designed this book and why these lessons are the way they are and why these stories are the way they are and all of that. And then I give some tips on baking with children. Every week has a baking day, why that is, how we approach it, kind of the traditions of a Waldorf kindergarten, and then how I've adapted this to make this really, to set you up for success with your children. And then we introduce, of course, Jessica Diamond, who joined us for our lovely second editions to give you these adaptations. And then we have a lovely section here that she wrote out on tips and on adapting your recipes. So how to measure gluten-free flour, how to successfully adapt these recipes. So these are really great reference points if you are a family who is going to be using those dietary swaps. You can go through, and she has some lovely tips that you'll kind of be referring to as you adapt these recipes. I have a note on holidays and festivals. This one will be slightly different per season. So right now, this is the holidays and festivals overview page for autumn. And so for spring and winter, you'll probably want to look through some different notes I have. I have some general overviews on how we approach holidays and festivals, because the way we approach these in this book, we say it's festival rich, but holiday neutral. So a lot of our celebrations in the book, we're celebrating the seasons, We're doing crafts, we're doing baking activities to really celebrate the seasons as we go through the year to really anchor the children in the year. But it's also holiday neutral. So we get a lot of questions from any family. Is this a Christian curriculum? We're Christian, we're not Christian. We celebrate this, we don't celebrate this. Is this for us? And I would say yes. Of course, we are Christians, but this is not a Christian curriculum. This is something that really any family can use, and it can add on to your traditions at home. It can create new traditions. And so you won't find any specific holiday in there, but you'll see as all of the stories, you kind of see the gnomes in this little world of Wondergarten, how they celebrate the seasons. And what it's designed to do is kind of honor some of the traditions that your children will see. So around the end of October, your children are probably going to see pumpkins around. So we honor that, we celebrate that. Even in winter, they're probably going to see gingerbread cookies around. So we honor that and we celebrate that, but in a way that any family can enjoy without ties to a specific celebration or holiday. And then of course you get to adapt it as you want in your family. So I have that written in depth here, and then a few specifics on holidays per each season in each book. And then I have a note about birthdays, how we celebrate birthdays in a Waldorf-inspired classroom, a little bit about a birthday story, Nathaniel's original sweet happy birthday song, and some tips on how we do that. And then we have an overview of our star. So our window star, we've taken this to be really more of a seasonal clock. And we use this in the curriculum. We use it as kind of a wayfinder. And this really honors a lot of ancient traditions of really honoring as we go through the seasons as the year and designating each of these colors to a specific season. We turn our star as the equinoxes come and those kind of halfway points, and we celebrate those, and those again, honor those traditions and celebrations that have been celebrated in many cultures in many different ways. Those holidays have many different names and many different approaches, but we like to honor those in a way that your children can see that star on the window and see we're in yellow season. That means it's summer and autumn is approaching, and you turn your way. So this really describes how we do that and why. And we have a link, a QR code to our Seasons Come, Seasons Go song and a window star folding tutorial. So this kind of explains a little bit more about how we use our window star. And then we get into our rhythm section, and this is where I just tell you a lot about rhythm, what it even is in the Waldorf approach, colors of the day, in-breaths and out-breaths, some of these concepts that are really just going to guide you through using this book. And then I get into the actual rhythms that are used in the curriculum. So the whole way that this curriculum designed is on this rhythmical framework. So when you see morning activity, after reading this, you'll know what that means in your framework. And of course, you can adjust your own rhythm, but I've used this rhythm to present the information in a way that you can easily follow. So I go through this in depth here and just kind of explain what we did in our little classroom and how that evolved and how we transitioned through the day. So you can take inspiration from that and adapt it in either your home or your classroom. We have our references for our daily songs here and how you can use those throughout your day as well. And then after that, we go into our circle time rhythm. Again, kind of an overview there about how we did our circle time and how you can hopefully enjoy circle time in your home. Some tips, of course, circle time looks very different per classroom or per homeschool setting. We have some song links there, some video demonstrations there, especially for autumn. And you can go through this to kind of have a sense of how we've done circle time and see what works for your family. We have, again, lots more QR codes to assist you through your time. And then after our circle time section, we get into the Gnomes of Wondergarten. So this section is really, really special. And if you've gotten any of our books or are curious, I really think this is an absolutely essential read before you dive into your story. So this is going to introduce all the characters in our stories and really introduce the world of Wondergarten that Nathaniel has created. These stories are a lot more than just little curriculum stories. It is an immersive, imaginative world, and these characters really come to life in the stories and in your lessons and in your homes, and it is just so lovely. So you'll definitely want to start here to get a sense of who these characters are. This starts with kind of Nathaniel's little excerpt on making these characters and how it started with just a few little gnome drawers in our backyard and how it evolved to really create these characters. And then you get your first introduction. So you get their introduction to the gnomes and Mr. Hamilton Squirrel, and he gets to introduce all of our gnomes and their temperaments and how and each of their personalities You'll get introduced to each one in depth, so you really get a sense of these characters even before you start reading the stories. Some of the friends you'll meet, Mr. Morrison Mole, Pearl, the fairy, and then an introduction to the fairies of Wondergarten. This is a difference in your first edition. In your first edition, Autumn did not have the introduction to the fairies, but now the introduction to the fairies is in all 3 books. So you'll get an introduction to all of these little fairies. These are actually sketches done by myself, just little concept sketches, so you can see the colors of the fairies and kind of who they are and get to know them a little bit as well. And then you get introduced to Sister Flame, which is our living candlelight. She's kind of like the friend who's always there, and Mr. Hamilton Squirrel. And of course, then we follow Mr. Hamilton Squirrel through the year as he discovers Wondergarten, discovers this lovely place where gnomes and fairies dance and play all day, and gets to really come under their wing and really see how they celebrate. And a little bit of how we wrote these stories is really kind of mimicking a child's journey kind of into a Waldorf school or into homeschooling, where we're baking bread, we're singing these songs. What are these traditions? And as he's learning these things alongside the gnomes and really getting immersed into this lovely culture. And then here we are in autumn. Then we dive into the seasonal content. So this whole first part of the book is similar in each of your books, your autumn, winter, and spring. Of course, there's a few little details there that are different between each section. So be sure between each season, you want to look through those. And then this is where we get into really the seasonal book. We have a little overview there. And then one of my favorite pages, the timeline. So each of our curriculum starts with this lovely timeline so you can see the themes of each week. You can see each month and a little bit of a snippet of each story. So you can kind of just get your head around what you're going to be doing with your children, what you're going to be thinking about and talking about. And I know I've gotten a few questions about what's the deal with these themes. So these themes are a way that Nathaniel and I really created a really immersive experience for your child's head, heart, and hands. So he wrote these stories, and then I pulled themes out of those stories to interweave what they're doing and what they're baking and what they're singing. And so Corn Week is so much more about just corn. It's this immersive experience where they're grinding corn, they're reading this story about a corn harvest, they're singing the gardener's gold, and it's this whole head, heart, hands experience, and what's going in and coming out is all intertwined and interwoven. And so you kind of get to see this preview of what you're going to be diving into through the season and what these stories are going to be about. Each season has this lovely timeline, again, with these beautiful icons by our favorite Tabitha Page. She is just so lovely and really added so much beauty to our curriculum with those icons. And then I have a few little tips on how to plan your season. These curriculums, they go by weeks, but of course with each year you can adapt those to where you want on the calendar, and that's where your dated academic year planner will come in handy. So you might want a certain week of curriculum to align with a certain holiday if you're celebrating. So this just gives you a preview. Hey, you might want your autumn festival to align with either the equinox or Michaelmas, depending on what you're celebrating. If you have leaves in your climate, we're doing a few leaf activities. Here's what to keep in mind so you can plan when you want to do those. If you're celebrating Martinmas, here's when we're doing this. If you want to shift this week to suit your needs, or the autumn feast, we have that at the end of November. But if you're maybe in Canada, you might want to scoot that up to October. So a lot of just an overview to make sure that you can have what you need to plan your season successfully so that you feel like you're in control of what you're doing when. And then we go over our main seasonal supplies. These are what you'll use and reuse every week of the year. So this page is actually the same in each curriculum. This is your baking supplies, your aprons, your bowls, and we do have lovely kits of these as well. We have an art kit and a baking kit and a life skills kit. So these are those things that I'm going to assume you'll have on hand: watercolor paper, crayons, Stockmar paints, aprons, baking bowls, all of those. So these are the things that are just kind of your baseline that don't change through the seasons. And then here we head into our first month, September, and we do have a little overview from Mr. Squirrel there, and then we have this 4-week overview of your month of September. You have an overview of your songs, your main activities, your stories. Again, I love giving you as many at-a-glance pages as I can, so you can really see in one fell swoop what's coming, digest that information, feel like you can plan accordingly. And then we head in to our week 1, which I kind of already dove into. So there we have kind of our layout of our curriculum. At the back of each book, we do have a few additional resources that I will kind of go through here. We have our ending page. And then we have some additional resources. We have some nature walk activities, some some seasonal recommended books, and some adult recommended reading. These are the same through all seasons because these are just wonderful. If you want to know more about this approach, if you want to know more about Waldorf education, all of those things, these are really great adult recommended readings. If you want to dive deeper, I have some kind of more traditional Waldorf verses and some things that if you're kind of in Waldorf culture, some ones you might have heard before, but just wanted to honor those. And then of course we have an index, and our second editions actually now have a second beautiful full spread chalkboard. This is the October board. So it is really fun to get 2 chalkboards worth of art in here. And then we have the beautiful end page for our hardcover. And in the back here, we have a lovely overview. We have some lovely reviews as well as QR codes to more music. So that is an overview of our curriculum. Like I said, the spring and winter have the same layout. We have seasonal chalkboards in the front, beautiful for each one. The beginning of the book is going to be pretty similar through each season, but you are going to have some of those season-specific overviews for holidays and festivals and planning. You'll still get your introduction, and then you'll go through your weeks with your spring book and winter as well. I'll show you how this beautiful winter book opens up to beautiful December and ends with the famous February book there. So there we have it, autumn, winter, spring. We are, yes, working on summer. Summer will be released next year, but right now we are so thrilled to have the second edition of the entire academic year in hardcover and paperback. So here's another kind of preview of paperback books. These are really, really beautiful. And then of course that digital copy is available as well for only $50 if you are curious to just see what is inside these pages. So choose your own price a little bit, and 3 really lovely formats depending on what works best for your family. I am going to also give you a little sneak peek into our songbooks. I don't want our songbooks to get overlooked. These songbooks are really, really lovely music learning tools. Of course, you have a little bit of music in your curriculum, but I want to show you the difference. So we have Autumn, Winter, Spring songbook, again, in paperback and hardcover. And these are just lovely, lovely, lovely music learning tools for young children or adults. We had Catherine Brunner, who is our vocalist for all of our music, join us really editing and making these books with us. So you get a little snippet back here. These are so special because they have beautiful music learning tools. So each song, look at how beautiful this is. Each song incorporates color-coded note bubbles. So we know that young children learning music, even for adults, can be really challenging. And so we kind of assigned a color to each note. So a C is red and a D is orange. And so you get a full sheet music here with accompaniment. The curriculum versions of the sheet music doesn't have the accompaniment line. It just has the melody line. So in the songbook, you have melody and accompaniment. And in that melody line, you have color-coded bubbles with all of your notes. So this has the note listed. So this is an E, and it has it in the color-coded. So it will just help if you're singing along, if your child is beginning to learn music, if you're beginning to learn music, it just helps you guide. And of course, this is all corresponding to Nathaniel's beautiful music theory chalkboard, which is available for purchase. All of this is color-coded the same way. So this is a great reference board. You also have this really lovely About This Song preview, so you can see what key it is. You can see the major chords, you can see the scale, and you can see the scale on piano. You also have, of course, some lovely imagery here, your lyrics written out as poetry, and of course that QR code. In our first edition books, those QR codes kind of just went to a music landing page because again, they weren't all released. But now in these second editions, every single song has their own QR code. So when you get to this song, you want to hear it, bloop, you can hear this song immediately. So this is just, again, a lovely, lovely tool. It's beautiful with all of the color coding there, and it can really just help guide whoever is learning music, if it's you or if it's your children, with these color codings. A little spoiler alert that Nathaniel actually cannot read music, so we designed this kind of for him because he composed these songs, but he designed this board for himself to begin to learn how to read music itself because it is its own skill. So we have beautiful color coding and beautiful sheet music here, so you can see this is much more a music learning tool, then the curriculum, I'll open up that again. So the curriculum songs are in there for a simple, let me just open up. So you have just a simple melody line here. So if you're using a glockenspiel or just a piano, that can help here. But the songbooks are real full sheet music with accompaniment, with learning tools, with this lovely preview, so you can really get immersed in music. And of course, these are available in the same three formats: digital, paperback, and hardcover. And last but not least, we have our academic year planner. I did a little overview of this recently on our Instagram, but this is designed specifically to go with your curriculum. It is dated, so it is accurate for 2025-2026 academic year. So all these dates are correct, so you can go through and decide which week of the curriculum you're going to do for which dates, and it aligns with your curriculum rhythm. So you have a space for your morning activity, your circle time, your main lesson. So all of this is going to really help you plan specifically with our curriculum. It also can be a great just general planner, but you have spaces for stickers. We have stickers for those beautiful little icons. So you can put a sticker here and it'll look like Bread Week if you want it to be, and we have other little spaces for stickers. So you can really customize this to make this a lovely tool for your planning to go alongside your curriculum. And I think that might be everything. So there we have it. As I said, our second edition curriculums, we've worked so hard to create a really beautiful, functional resource for you all to enjoy in your homes. Again, these stories are rich and just they come alive and they really ignite your children's imagination. You have lots of storytelling tools. You have music to bring it alive. You have lessons and recipes to bring it alive. And again, those recipe adaptations are now there for everyone. So I am going to open it up for some questions here now. So I'm going to answer a few questions. I have questions up here and see any FAQs, any questions before I sign off. I know that was a lot to cover, so thank you for watching, everyone. This was fun to hop on. I know a lot of you have been very eager to get more of an in-depth tour of these beautiful books. So of course, what ages are these suited for? We've designed this for ages 3 to 5, but it can also be so much more than that. So our quick answer is yes, 3 to 5. That is the age that I did these activities in my own classroom, in my home with those children. That's what it's designed for. It is not academic, so it's not introducing letters or numbers quite yet. But that's the short answer, 3 to 5. But because it's not academic, you can really enjoy these stories with younger children. You can enjoy them with older children. The baking recipes are fun for even teens and adults. You can really enjoy a lot of these things for any age, really any age. But if you're really thinking of it as a primary curriculum, 3 to 5 is your answer there. So let's see, any other questions? One thing, yes, one question we get a ton, and one thing I do kind of want to address. Of course, we get lots of questions. Can we have it in German? Can we have it in Spanish? Can we have it in French? Can we have it translated? And that, of course, is something that we would absolutely love, but I want to just tell you a little bit why it'll be a while before we're able to tackle that. So translating a book like this is a very involved task because this is more than just written lessons. If it was just a little notes from me, that would be an easy translate. But the main piece that makes these so hard to translate is the music. So each week of the year, you have multiple, usually 2 to 3 songs per week that are integrated in these stories. And the songs are such a big part of this curriculum. And the songs are rhyming, they're poetry. And so translating something from language to language in a way that preserves the meaning and the rhyming and the rhythm of the song is just a really tricky thing. It's not impossible, but it takes a very, very skilled translator. And right now, we are focusing on finishing summer. We have some first grade curriculum we're developing, so we're focusing on finishing what we started first before we really begin adaptations for other languages or other hemispheres. So I wish it was as easily as press translate, but because specifically those songs are so integrated in the stories and the curriculum and just such a big part of the curriculum, that's what makes it so hard to translate, because making it rhyme and rhythm and the meaning preserved in other language is just a tricky thing. Again, not impossible, but just a really big undertaking. So each language that we were to translate in would be a really big undertaking in itself. And right now we want to finish summer. We have a few other things to do. So we're going to kind of put our blinders on and finish the work we started. And then once it's all complete, we would absolutely love to get these translated into other languages, but we will have to find some very skilled translating teams before we tackle that. So let's see. I think it would be awesome if you even get some felt characters that the kids can hold and play with. Good idea. We do. We have some lovely little puppet characters in development right now as we speak. So if you are interested in some puppet props, we're already a step ahead of you. We're working on a lot of things behind the scenes as always. We also love seeing in our community, so many people have shared their own handmade little story puppets that they use in puppet shows and they use to really prepare for the week, and they're well beloved by the children. So I love seeing these little characters come to life in your home, and if you want to see some inspiration, hop on Community and see what other people have made. But we also are getting some created that will be available soon. Let's see, any other specific questions? What are the themes in winter and spring, trying to plan and gather books to accompany? So I can do a little timeline overview for each season. That is a great question. So I'll open up to our autumn spread first. So autumn, we go through Bread Week, Apple Week, Corn Week, the Autumn Festival, which kind of honors the equinox and Michaelmas. We have Spice Week, Wind Week, Pumpkin Week, Lantern Week, Leaf Week, Rain Week, Pie Week, and the Autumn Festival. For winter, I'll open up to our winter overview. Let's see here, winter. For winter, we start off with a decorating week in December, baking week, which is kind of our gingerbread week, giving week, and the winter festival. We have cozy week, ice week, snow week, and game week in January. And in February, we have the candle festival, chocolate week, wellness week, and friendship week. We have some really sweet themes in February. In winter, I will say December does lean a little bit Christmas, but as I mentioned before, you're not going to hear stories of Santa or Jesus. So you can adapt those in your own families based on what Christmas means to you. So we do have themes of giving. We do have the image of a Christmas tree, but it's different in our stories. But I do want to just let you know that a lot of those things kind of celebrate kind of that cultural Christmas, if you say. So again, around that time of year, your children are going to be seeing gingerbread houses and Christmas trees. So we integrate those in a way that is unique to our stories and the storyline within the world of Wondergarten. But it will feel a little bit Christmassy, just to make sure that if that suits your family. Then January, we do have ice and snow, but you don't have to live in a place where you get ice and snow to enjoy those weeks. The stories are really rich, it's imaginative, and all of the lessons don't depend on going outside and getting some ice and snow. You can do them with a freezer. You can do them with some other really great tools in those weeks. So even if you live in a climate that it's not super wintry, we've had people in Hawaii, people in the Southern Hemisphere. We have a lot of lovely members who've fully enjoyed our winter curriculum, regardless of even if it's warm. So I just wanted to give a little note on that. And then I'll open up and head through the spring timeline to give you a little overview there as well. While we're at it, in spring, we have Rainbow Week, Clover Week, Potato Week, and the Spring Festival. Then we have Pottery Week, Nesting Week, Egg Week, and Planting Week. And then in May, we have the Flower Festival, Butter Week, Honey Week, and Bubble Week. So lots of lovely seasonal themes, a lot of fun stories in there, a lot of fun songs. Let's see, any other questions? Okay, I'm going to hang on for just a few more, let's see, just a few more minutes, and I don't see any other questions coming through right now. So a lot of the answers to these questions are in the FAQ pages of our product listings. Head to our website. Of course, you can always email info@wondergarten.net for any questions or customer service related inquiries. Those are always best through the email channel versus Instagram messages. It just gets to our customer service team a little quicker. These books are on their way into our warehouse very soon. We do hope that if you pre-ordered, they'll be shipping out hopefully mid-August, so you can have everything you need before it starts up in September. Like I said, curriculum supply kits are now open. Go ahead and check those out in our website if you want a beautiful box to arrive with everything you need to enjoy these with your kids. Because again, the way we design this curriculum, we want you to spend more time connecting with your children. We wanted this to be easy to use. user-friendly, and we want to take some of the mental load. We've done the planning for you. It's laid out. It celebrates the seasons. It's really, really lovely to use. And the supply kits are part of that to support you through that journey. So can you show the soft cover? Yes. So the soft cover, it looks almost identical. Again, with the first editions, there was a big difference between the hardcover. This is our first edition spring, first edition winter. You can see there's a big difference there in what that looks like. But in our second editions, they look really, let me get the autumn here. They look really almost identical. So this is the soft cover, this is the hard cover. They are gonna look almost the same, and the interior contents are exactly the same. The paper quality is exactly the same. So everything is exactly the same, except for this one is a little bendy. You also don't get the end pages. So the end page design there, beautiful on the hardcovers, that is not there in your paperbacks. But otherwise, same content, same interior, same new, beautiful paper quality and all of that. So that is just difference of price and floppiness. Okay, thank you so much for everyone. I'm just now kind of getting to see, yay. Yes, I'm glad to hear some of you are excited for the supply kits. We put a lot of work into those, and they're going to be lovely. I can't wait for you to see the boxes. Those are going to come in. I think those are something you're going to want to hang on to. We have some fun surprises coming there, and so I think it'll just be a lovely experience for you to use those supply kits along with your curriculum to just have it be a lovely time. So thank you all for joining. This was a lot of fun to just kind of surprise hop on and finally give you a full rundown of everything we have been working so hard on. This is the culmination of 3 years of really, really hard work. A lot of original content here, again, with my husband on creating and composing stories and over 100 songs and getting those produced, getting the art out, and of course myself coming alongside with lessons and recipes and bringing Jessica along with adaptations. It's been a lot of work, but we're so excited that it's done for you the academic year. So head to our website if you're curious. For pre-orders are still open. Of course, now is a great time to get ahead for September planning. And I think that is it. So thank you all again for joining. It was great to be here today. Great to answer some questions. I hope this was helpful, and we'll see you again soon. Bye-bye, friends.